those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change.
Through the generous donation from one person of faith who cares deeply about climate change, 19 small creation care grants were awarded by Blessed Tomorrow. The purpose of the Getting Outside the Walls grants was to support congregations in fostering deep community relationships for innovative climate action. Like the parable of the mustard seed, these projects started with a small amount of money that have resulted in great impacts in 19 local communities and beyond through many different kinds of projects. From California to Massachusetts, people have come together in local cities and towns, practicing hope and spreading joy, inspiring all of us to listen to how God is calling each of us to live out our faith, being the hands and voice of the divine. While these projects are diverse in scope, they have all started with and been built upon relationships.
With the support of this grant, All People's Congregation in Louisville, Kentucky was able to expand the Interfaith Environmental Action Network to facilitate interfaith collaboration, cooperation, as well as organizing and mobilizing around environmental justice. The project now includes 30 congregations and organizations who are collaborating to create collective goals that ultimately support climate action and advocacy in their local community.
The Ward Economic Development Corporation in Los Angeles, California, organized the creation of a rapid response network to respond to local climate threats and to inspire others to become involved. Their work reaches over 12,000 individuals through conferences, street festivals, and resident meetings, and the grant supported 2 local housing communities in improving their sustainability.
The Comunidad y Clima project in Davenport, Iowa, is a collaborative effort between multiple Spanish-speaking congregations hosted by Iglesia Camino de Emmaus to educate, resource, and collaborate on creation care and climate justice. They're also planning on starting a community garden in the spring.
3 grantees used their funds to support community gardens. If breaking bread together helps connect us, gardening together deepens relationships.
Progressive Baptist Church in New Orleans constructed 6 garden boxes that were used to grow fruits, vegetables, and herbs, while also providing education around how to use the fresh food to prepare healthy meals on a realistic budget.
Washington Avenue Christian Church in Elyria, Ohio, also had a hugely successful community garden where relationships between church members and local neighbors were grown alongside the plants. They also hosted a huge harvest potluck.
The San Antonio Million Garden Project is a collaborative effort between multiple AME churches in San Antonio, Texas. Led by Dr. Raymond Bryant and San Antonio District AME Church, they support a network of community gardens across the San Antonio area that include growing fresh foods, cooking demonstrations using affordable recipes, and a Facebook group where those involved can share their progress and ask for support.
First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ in Princeton, Kentucky is hosting a Farm to Fork event in the spring as part of their Open Table, Open Mind, Open Heart project, and we're looking forward to it.
First Christian Church in Bloomington, Indiana is also looking forward to a native plant swap in March 2025. They have already ordered over 100 sapling bundles of a large variety of species and are planning on inviting a local organization to provide education on the importance of these native plants against invasive species.
Education is integral to this work. It is important to support our faith communities in understanding the connection of our faith to climate work and creation care, and to then help put our faith in action in our congregations and communities. Kim Rahibi is currently completing her PhD at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas. She's been collaborating with 3 congregations in the Fort Worth area to gather empirical data on the positive impacts that creation care work can have on a local environment. She realized that although creation care is a concept known in faith communities, it is not well known in academic circles. Through studying community cleanups in the Fort Worth area, she'll close that research gap and provide qualitative data towards creation care.
The Solarize the Triad project, led by the Ardmore United Methodist Church in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, began by hosting a faith community outreach event that was well attended to help educate the community about the benefits of going solar as an exercise in stewardship and saving money. They had leaders of more than 6 houses of worship actively invite participation and provide information about the benefits of transitioning to solar across Winston-Salem.
Foothills Christian Church in Glendale, Arizona brought together communities of multiple faiths through a Sacred Earth Common Ground film screening. The United Islamic Center of Arizona and BAPS Phoenix, a Hindu house of worship, joined them to watch the film and discuss how to collaborate on creation care in the Glendale, Phoenix area.
First Christian Church Disciples of Christ in Tucson, Arizona, held an educational workshop centered around the Inflation Reduction Act in order to save energy and money. With 3 congregations and various interfaith and nonprofit organizations as well as city and state agencies, FCC Tucson is leading the charge in Arizona to ensure people know about the opportunities of the governmental direct pay program for nonprofits for renewable energy.
North Street Community Church of the Nazarene in Hingham, Massachusetts, dedicated their project to hosting a community screening of the film Common Ground and providing compost starter kits to 3 separate congregations in September. Following the event, they are staying updated on each congregation's progress on the setup of their compost system.
Fairfax Presbyterian Church in Fairfax, Virginia is using their grant to green their community hypothermia program for unhoused people in the winter months. Alongside a local organization, Facets, and in partnership with 20 churches, they have researched best practices and products, surveyed the hosts and clients in the program, and are now implementing green practices. In the spring, they'll do another evaluation and then share their suggestions and resources with their local program and beyond.
St. John's Episcopal Lutheran Church in Williams, Arizona, is connecting with congregations in the Williams area and assessing where they stand on climate change issues and resiliency. In 2025, they plan to create educational opportunities and build on projects along with the Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance. As people of faith, we are responsible for protecting and caring for the earth. Biodiversity is key to the health of creation, which we support through the use of native plants and by enjoying and preserving the beauty of the natural world.
The Native Plant Project at Potomac United Methodist Church in Potomac, Maryland, educated the church confirmation class on how important native species are and why biodiversity is so important for the Earth's ecosystem. After receiving native plants from Boy Scout Troop 773B, the confirmation class put their learning to action, planting 60 native plants of 5 different species and having a great time together.
Faith in Place and their solidarity in nature through sound exploration hosted 5 different outdoor workshops where over 300 youth from the Chicago area participated. Young people recorded sounds of nature and then used them as samples in the creation of their hip-hop tracks. Being outside supported their physical and mental health and connected them to God, all while having an incredible time.
White Oak Pond Christian Church Disciples of Christ in Richmond, Kentucky hosted a naturalist-led hike through Raven Run Nature Sanctuary in central Kentucky for youth from their church and community. The naturalists educated them on the importance of carbon sinks through a variety of games to really drive home how carbon can be captured by trees. They even learned how to calculate how much carbon is stored in specific trees. Each person also receives an awesome White Oak Pond Christian Church and One Home, One Future water bottle.
Messiah Community Christian Church in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, focused their efforts on a girls' group home with their I Action Messiah project. Native plants, gardening starter kits, and solar energy education are all being shared with their church in the group home for girls.
like pebbles in 19 ponds. These communities of faith have made impacts in their local cities and towns whose ripple effects will be felt for years and years to come.
About how can we do some peer sharing, peer learning, peer teaching around what each congregations, what all of us are doing to try and uplift our work within the community and within our congregations. And we now have over 30 congregations: Baptists, Presbyterians, Lutherans, First Christians. Certainly the Catholic community is involved. We also have 2 synagogues and 1 mosque that are part of the network. Now, as you all know, networking amongst 30 congregations is a bit of a challenge. And the way that we like to talk about it is network is both a noun and a verb. And those of you who are based in churches or synagogues know that it's really hard, that churches and synagogues aren't really resourced to work outside of their walls, outside into the community. That's what the Justice Center does. So that when you come once a month, all y'all got to do is party and spend the time, and then you go back to what you're actually resourced to do, which is the work within your congregation.
Sometimes we have to connect beyond stewardship and before the stewardship to get them to fall in love with the outdoors. And a lot of youth, they do this through sports, through arts, through cooking in different ways. The way that we did it is through our Hip Hop Outdoors program. It means beat making, song recording, video production, and dance. And through this initiative, we introduced over 300 youth to green spaces across Chicago, whether they're forest preserves of the Cook County or Chicago Park districts. Or somebody you know have a very unique talent that you could bring to the table to youth? That's the first question to think about. You inside of your walls, inside of your house of worship. Connect with local teaching artists. There's a lot of creatives and artists in our communities that are always wanting to find opportunities to teach. In order to bring more youth outdoors, we have to learn more about their specific interests, cultures, and goals. You have to use this as a basis to encourage them to experience the outdoors. They must first fall in love with the outdoors before they can start caring.
I learned that climate care information is not readily available nor a common topic of discussion in many Spanish communities. Our first idea, collaborate with the faculty of a nearby ELCA college, plus local Latino organizations to hold big public educational events, presenting climate change information and linking it to the immigration issues in Spanish. Our first was in a public park, to share a meal and worship and Holy Communion, to boldly proclaim God's presence is everywhere. Our next event was a collaboration with the local organization Tapestry Farms, a not-for-profit group linked to a Lutheran church. This organization supports refugees and immigrants, particularly by developing community gardens. The work of creating the season of creation, the worship services on the Sunday before Thanksgiving had the theme of Gracias para la Creación, giving thanks and honor and respect for the earth God has given us, remembering our non-human ancestors, their Day of the Dead worship, adding earth care pledges to our Bethsaida Christmas events. These churches are worshiping God with their cultural heritage of holistic vision and love of God's world. They are recognizing the dangers of climate change, and they hear the call to action now and for all of us. Gracias.
We chose to focus on educating people about ways to green their home and take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act benefits that are available. So we reached out to the churches that meet on our campus, as well as the neighborhood association where our church is located. And we created a planning team that worked to put this event together. It was great to collaborate and develop relationships with folks that share a common ground, but haven't had opportunity to work together. We also reached out to nonprofits in our community that focus on green energy, like Sonora Environmental Research Institute. Worked alongside Sustainable Tucson, a nonprofit group that offers in-home assessments and coaching for going electric and greening your home. We invited a solar power company that collaborates with local solar nonprofits in getting customers solar energy. And we also had the good fortune to have the Arizona State Office of Resiliency represented. And that office is tasked with handing out the federal dollars to homeowners and renters from the Inflation Reduction Act. We invited all the neighborhood associations around the University of Arizona, which is right next door to us. We also invited neighboring faith communities and local government officials. We had 55 people attend. We are really hopeful that this has laid the groundwork for future collaboration with more faith groups and nonprofits, so we can continue to create community and provide a forum to learn and work together to truly make a difference.
And before our second meeting, we had 4 churches that were interested in creating environmentally friendly practices and products for use in the Hypothermia Week. It provides homeless guests shelter and nourishment, which means a place to sleep and at our churches, a hot meal, deliciously prepared, and a breakfast in the morning, and a bag lunch to take with them in the day. And this runs from from December to the first week of April. We have congregations from various Protestant denominations, the Roman Catholics, and we have several independent churches that are providing their facility to house hypothermia prevention week. So the first thing that we wanted to do was to identify environmentally friendly practices and products. We've identified practice and products that we would like to be used and tested by member congregations. We each will do meatless meals at least one day of the week, and we have one congregation that is using all compostable products. And finally, you have to do your research on what you are looking to do.
And we hosted a film screening of the movie Common Ground, which is a documentary film about soil health and regenerative agriculture. 4 congregations that had people attend the Common Ground screening, we actually gave away composting starter kits. So each composting kit, as you can see here, included a composting tumbler, some indoor composting bins along with compostable liners, and then a set of compostable plates and napkins. We had over 30 people attend our film event, representing 5 different congregations in our area. How important compost is for helping control food waste and offering a way to rebuild our topsoil and increase soil health. We were happy to have the grant funds so that we could be able to actually give out those composting kits.
From deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning